I really like Jordan. I think, man, he was really a diamond in the rough. They found him, and then they're like from I think he was from the Dodgers, and then next thing you know, this guy just hit 27 home runs, and they're like, oh, this guy's great. So they kept starting him, and he's been just banging ever since. Really good. Hello, welcome to Technically Analytics. Today we're going to be discussing the AL West division. I'm going to be making my predictions and going over each team in the AL West. So we're going to start at the bottom with the Oakland Athletics, who maybe or maybe not will be moving to Vegas. We don't know. Anyway, the Athletics went a paltry 50-112 last season in last place in the AL West. And they did it with a team of what some would call minor leaguers or something along those lines. So their lineup is looking kind of similar, but also kind of not. So they have Ryan Noda leading off, Zach Gelof, Brent Rooker, Seth Brown, Shea Langoliers, JJ Bleday, Esteury Ruiz, Abraham Toro, and Daryl Hernandez. So yeah, this is Oakland's lineup. You probably know some of these guys. JJ Bleday used to play for Miami, and you know Seth Brown, Brett Rooker. Obviously, he's a big part of their lineup. Shea Langoliers has been pretty good. He's a great catcher. And Abraham Toro was with Houston, and he's been around. So you know some guys. So the problem is, will these guys put it together? Do they even want to put it together, right? Like, that's the problem with the Oakland A's, is they're kind of trying to be bad. So you really have to question if this lineup is even going to be any good. Some of these guys on another team, they'd be great. Like, they'd probably exceed expectations and stuff. But for this crew, I mean, you have to wonder, like, what's the intention here? Is it to win games, or is it to lose games? So the guys I do like are Rooker, Brown, Langoliers, Bleday. Even Ruiz is okay. I mean, and Toro, he's okay too. But I'm expecting the most production from Rooker and Brown. We'll talk about Rooker in a little bit. And on the bench to have Tyler Soderstrom, Jordan Diaz, Aledmys Diaz, and Miguel Andujar. So, it's okay bench. I mean, you're not top of the line, not like the Dodgers or something here. What do you expect? Like, it's the Oakland bench, it's just some guys. And so we're going to talk about Brent Rooker. So Brent Rooker he's a DH. I think he's first base or outfield by trade, but he's a DH. He really went off last year. He had 30 home runs. He had 137 games. He walked quite a bit, 9.3%. Struck out a lot, which is common with power hitters. He went 246, 329, 488 slug, 348 WOBA. His rated ones created plus were 127, which is pretty decent. And this guy, he has some power. He's a legit power hitter. He's established himself as such. He hasn't had much playing time before that when he was with other teams, but now he's established himself as a big time power hitter. Of course, projections are not projecting him to be as good as he was before, but if he could do something similar to what he did last year and get those 30 home runs off, get 526 plate appearances, like, that's going to be good for the A's right there. That's good offensive production. Maybe it'll help them win some more games. Maybe, we'll see. So moving on to their pitching and their rotation, they have JP Sears, Paul Blackburn, Alex Wood, Ross Stripling, and Luis Medina. They just traded for Stripling, and they signed Wood in the offseason, which is nice to see. And in their bullpen, they have Mason Miller, Lucas Igreg, Danny Jimenez, Trevor Gott, Sean Newcomb, Zach Jackson, Kyler Mueller, and Mitch Spence. And, obviously with their bullpen and their rotation, it's kind of middling, I like some of these guys, like Alex Wood. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. Ross Stripling, he's been okay over the years. Like, you're going to get, average, fourth or fifth starter pitching. I mean, that's what he is, right? Sears and Blackburn could be good if they get some offense behind them. I mean, that's not up to them, I guess, but... And then in the bullpen, you like Mason Miller. He was really good last year. He should be decent, actually, in the back. Trevor Gott is okay. He didn't do great for the Mets, but he did okay. And then they got all the other guys. I don't know. I mean, it's Oakland. They're not trying to win, so it's really hard to say anything about it because it's like they're not really trying. So I don't know what they're expecting. Like they didn't bring in a lot of guys. They brought in a few, but let's talk about Alex Wood though. I think he's probably the most experienced pitcher on the roster by a while. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a veteran guy, 10 years of experience, and he's pitched for a bunch of different teams, places, had a bunch of different outcomes. You know, he was really good in the beginning of his career, obviously, and then past few years he's been kind of on and off. His last good season was in 2021, and he's kind of struggled since then. But I think Wood's gonna be a good addition because he's gonna bring that veteran presence. He's gonna help these guys like learn the game better, work harder, all that. So he was okay last year, like 6.28 Ks per nine, 3 walks per nine, 0.83 home runs per nine, which is pretty good. So like he wasn't great, but he's capable of doing like 10 Ks or 8 Ks, 9 Ks. Like he could do more than he did last year with the Giants. So maybe Oakland will help him figure it out. Oakland's a bigger park, so he won't have as many home runs. Like his home runs will probably be down even more. It's just the Ks need to go up a little bit, and you know he just needs to get his ERA down to like 3.4, like below 4 would be good, and that would be a great season for him. Obviously, the FIP kind of tells the story. He's struggling a bit now. You see the projections down here. It's kind of like they're projecting him to be like right around where it was last year, probably a little worse because it's Oakland. Obviously, I can have a lot of run support, so that kind of sucks for him. But I hope he does well. And on the injury list, they have Ken Waldichuk, who's a reliever from the Yankees. Should be back sometime in the season. He's probably one of their better relievers, and so I hope that he'll come back, and he should help their bullpen a lot too. And then their organizational details, you could tell from last year that they were last in almost every single category. Brett Rooker helped them with homers, and then they didn't allow that many home runs because their park is huge. The Coliseum is huge. So, and then as you can see, Mason Miller was a top prospect because he came up and was lights out. So they have a few guys here and there. Nothing anytime really soon. I guess this guy right here is kind of soon. Rober Salinas, he's soon, but everybody else kind of far away. So, and they didn't re-sign anybody. They lost Austin Pruitt to the Texans, to the Rangers. So, yeah. So, for my prediction, Dokkan Athletics, I'm predicting them to go 55 and 107. I mean, I'm being generous, giving them 5 more wins than last year, but trying to be optimistic here with this. So, yeah, that's what we're going with. 55 and 107. On to the next team. The next team is the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels went 73 and 89. These are one of the teams I predicted spot on last season. And the Angels came in 4th place. So the Angels lineup, Luis Ferrigno, Mike Trout, Brandon Drury, Anthony Rendon, Tyler Ward, Mickey Moniak, Logan O'Hoppe, Nolan Schanuel, and Zach Neto. So they have a few good prospects at the back of their lineup, and they have a few guys that are pretty well known: Mike Trout, Brandon Drury, Anthony Rendon, Tyler Ward. So I'm expecting the Angels to be slightly worse, but also slightly better. So they did lose Shohei Ohtani, the best player in the game, which obviously hurts your team a lot. So if they only won 73 games with Ohtani, imagine how many they're going to win without him. So yeah, that's kind of where my prediction landed. I think they could be better than what I predicted, but losing Ohtani, you kind of have to be like, is it really going to be better? Because we have to expect the young guys, Neto, Schanuel, O'Hoppe, and Moniak to all really pop this season, to really like hit for career years and have their best season basically of their career. And they haven't even really started their career yet. Like, they have a taste of the MLB. So, but the guy I want to talk about will be Anthony Rendon, and we'll get on him in a second. On their bench, they have Matt Thaiss, Michael Stefanik, Joe Adell, and Aaron Hicks, which I like their bench actually. Pretty good outfield depth. Uh, good infield. I like their outfield depth though. Hicks is obviously a pretty good outfielder, a pretty good hitter too. So he should give them a nice bat in the lineup when the guys need a rest. Uh, but on to Mr. Rendon. Rendon had some comments in the media about not wanting to play baseball, how it's not his first priority, and all that. And I think that he's kind of, I mean, given how much he's getting paid, like he should just be quiet and play. Like if you don't want to play, then give back the money and don't play. Like that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to play if you don't want to. No one's forcing you to, bro. Just give back the money and don't play. Like retire and just call it a day. I mean, if you don't want to play, then don't. Like no one's forcing you. It's baseball. It's fun. It's I know it's your job, but like get over it. But anyway, Rendon's one of the most important players on the roster still. Because if he could stay healthy, he's one of the best. He's one of the better third basemen in the league, especially for hitting. I mean, look at his 2019 season in Washington. He played 146 games. Last time he played over 100 games, he had 34 home runs. He had 126 RBIs. He did a 319, 412, 598, and 413 WOBA. So I mean, 598 slugging. He had 155 weighted runs created plus. I mean, this guy, he crushed it. He was one of the best players in the league at that year. So if he can come back to that, he's been hurt for the past 3 seasons and had some off-the-field stuff go on, that fight with the A's fan and all that. So he really needs to get it together. I mean, obviously they're predicting him to be what he's been. They're giving him some generous game things, 130 games. And come on, man. What if he's going to be healthy? I mean, if he can stay healthy though, for real, like he's gonna be fine. Like he'll put up the stats he can put up. So that's Rendon. Onto their pitching, we have Reed Detmers, Griffin Canning, Patrick Sandoval, Tyler Anderson, Chase Slowith, and in their bullpen, Carlos Estevez, Robert Stevenson, Matt Moore, Jose Soriano, Luis Garcia, Adam Cinder, Jose Sinero, and Jose Suarez. So in their rotation, I mean, I like it. Obviously, without Ohtani, it's kind of weak. Like they need to add like Montgomery or Snell or something. Like if they were to add one of those guys, they haven't yet as of this recording. But if they were to, it would make it a lot better. And then in their bullpen, you like the back end, Matt Moore, Stevenson, Estevez. These are all pretty good. Stevenson figured something out with the Rays last year, and he's going to be good. So we can rely on the back end. And then Simber and Garcia are pretty decent. Like they're going to give you good innings and good appearances. So we'll see. I mean, I like their bullpen more than their rotation. I think if they add in a piece like a starting pitcher, then that would be great. So I want to talk about Tyler Anderson. Anderson, he's been around the league for a little bit, been on a few teams, and he figured something out with the Dodgers in 2022. They kind of like fixed him, I guess, and he was supposed to be really good, but he ended up not really pitching he pitched quite a bit, but he didn't keep the same kind of pitching that he had when he was with the Dodgers. Like he kind of forgot what he was taught, I guess, because he didn't do as well with the Angels last year. So I'm gonna need him to step it up for them, especially without Snell or Montgomery or like adding another big time pitcher that they would have had. So yeah, I'm gonna need them to like kind of step it up, especially. And there, you can see his predictions. I mean, it's pretty close to what he's been as a career guy. He's been kind of like a 4-ish ERA, 5-ish ERA guy. Like he's never been like amazing, but I think if he could step it up, he could be like the difference maker. He could make the difference in like the Angels win, 70 games versus 80 games, like if he gets like under a 4 ERA, maybe they win like 78 games or 80 games. So I could see it. And when they're injured, they have a relief pitcher, not a big deal, probably gonna be back mid-season. And their organizational details, they lost a lot of players. Aaron Lube, Gio Urshela, Grichuk, I think he signed recently. CJ Cron, Eduardo Escobar. They have some guys. Obviously, a lot of them are on the roster already. They're prospects. And then you could see their categories for last year, how good they were. They're pretty decent offensively because of Otani, I believe, the home runs and OPS. But pitching, they struggled quite a bit, especially in the bullpen. So hopefully those additions in the bullpen will keep them in the game. And they lost Jared Welsh as well. Just saw that. But if they keep if those bullpen additions really help them in the bullpen, that could make them a lot better. So we'll see. And then as for my prediction, I'm putting the Angels in 4th place again at 72-90. I know it's one game less than they won last year, but I think because they lost Otani and they didn't add a lot of pitching, especially in the rotation, I don't love their chances to win more games than they did last year. So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's like 8. I think it might be closer to 80 games, but I went kind of conservative and went 72-90. On to the next team. The Seattle Mariners are the next team on our AL West tour. Last year they went 88-74, just missing the playoffs. But the Mariners have been busy this offseason making trades and all kinds of stuff. So they made a lot of trades. Their lineup looks almost completely different than last season. They have at the leadoff spot JP Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, which these guys are some of the guys that have stayed. Actually, they're some of the guys that you know. And then they have Jorge Polanco, who they got from the Twins, Mitch Garver, who they signed as a free agent from the Texans, Cal Raleigh, Ty France, you know those guys, Luke Raley from the Rays, Mitch Haniger from the Giants, you know him. He was on the Mariners before, but he's back. And Josh Rojas from the Arizona trade last year. So I love this Mariners lineup. I think it's probably one of their better lineups over the years. They definitely add some pieces like Polanco and Garver. These guys are Polanco can hit really well. He's gonna get on base. He's gonna be on base, and he's gonna be, getting hits and making stuff happen. Garver, power guy. He's gonna hit home runs, and they have obviously Rodriguez too to hit home runs. And then in the back of the lineup, they have a lot of power. I don't know why they have Raley at 7th, but I like Raleigh, France, and Raley. These all deliver some good power. I think Raley's probably and Mitch Haniger too. Even these 4 guys are just power. These guys are like power hitters to me. They kind of just hit home runs to me, and that's what I like about them. But overall, I like the lineup. I think all the way through, there's always a threat. Rojas might be the only he might be the weakest one, but overall, I don't know. I think Raley might move up. Depending on how he does hitting wise, like if he hits like he did in Tampa, like I could see him hitting 5th or even 4th. So, but I do really like this lineup. It's a great, like they did a good job adding pieces, especially hitters. Like they got rid, because they in the offseason they said, oh, we're gonna get rid of strikeouts, but Haniger strikes out quite a bit. So, and Garver, like, I don't know. It's kind of a questionable thing. And then their bench, they have Sebi Zavala, Luis Urias, Dylan Moore, and Tyler Trammell. Their bench is okay. Their lineup is banging. So, they have some guys that can play just in case. And, it's fine. Like, it's nothing too crazy. And then we're going to talk about Luke Raley as the player to watch here. Raley played for the Rays for about 2-3 seasons. 2 seasons, and he hit a lot of home runs, basically. He came out of nowhere, just started hitting home runs, and hit 19 home runs in 2023, kind of had a breakout season. And, his 249 average, 333 on base, 490 slug, 353 ROBA, 130 weighted runs created plus. So decent. And if he can kind of repeat a similar performance and do close to 20 home runs, and be on, get on base at a low 300s, slug near 500, that's gonna be good for the Mariners. And I think he could move up in the lineup too. Because I don't know. He seems like a pretty good 7th hitter, and Mitch Haniger is a pretty good 8th hitter. So it's like, yeah, I would move him up, honestly. But they can play around with that. So on to the pitching, we have Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Rule. I do like the rotation, especially the top of the rotation. It's the top three are really good. I think they didn't really need to change that. It was pretty decent already. And in their bullpen, they have Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, Gregory Santos, Gabe Spear, Trent Thornton, Tyler Saucedo, Jackson Kowar, and Austin Voth. I like their bullpen. They made some additions at the bottom, and they made the addition of Gregory Santos, which I like. But the guy I want to talk about is Andrew Munoz. So he's like their closer. They used to have Paul Seawood, who they traded last year, and I like overall their bullpen is going to be good. It was one of the better bullpens, I think. We'll see in the rankings. I think it was a better bullpen, but I know they're starting pitching. It was really good last year. They got a really good performance out of everybody. So especially Castillo and Gilbert, Kirby, like these guys they're gonna shove. So I'm not too worried about their pitching, and I think with their improved hitting, it's gonna kind of buoy like their weakish bullpen. You know, like if their bullpen isn't as good as it was, then hopefully the better hitting will help counter that. So Munoz is he's a relief pitcher, and he was pretty decent last season. You know, 2.94 ERA, you know, 3 xERA, 270 FIP, and he was good in the season before too, like 249, 1.8 for 204 FIP. So I like this guy. I think if he can continue being good like he has been, you know, 12, 13 strikeouts per 9, not allowing many walks, a little more, probably can cut down on the walks a little bit. And then, you know, not allowing homers, doesn't allow homers at all. So yeah, if he can keep up, and you can see his projections, he's gonna be around. They're projecting him to be like around a similar kind of thing, like probably in the 2s, probably, you know, 12, 13, anywhere from 11 to 13 strikeouts per 9, about 3 walks, which is probably about right, and then, you know, less than a homer per game. So yeah, this guy's gonna, if he can shove and lock down the back of that bullpen, that's going to help them a lot, especially because they're going to be in games, especially with their offense, I think. So, and then they don't have any injured, so we're going to go straight to organizational details. They lost Tasker Hernandez, which is kind of a big loss in my opinion. And then Mike Ford, Tommy Lasella, not signed. So yeah, as you can tell, their relief pitching was really good last season, and they kind of added some pieces and they lost some pieces, but if they can get those performances again from some of those guys, that's going to be good for them. And their starting pitching was still really good. Still is. They didn't change that. I think their hitting is going to improve. They're kind of mid, and they're going to go probably low top 10. So, and then in their system, they have a few guys. No one's going to be ready quite yet. There's one guy, maybe 2 guys. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, for my prediction for the Mariners, we're going to go with 90 and 72. I think this was another team I was very close on getting right. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with a similar record to last year. I think they're going to be in 3rd place. I think the Rangers and Astros are just a little bit better. I mean, I could see the Rangers and Mariners switching as well. So you'll see that. We'll talk about them next. The Rangers next. The Texas Rangers won the AL West last season, and they won the World Series this past year. The Rangers went 90 and 72. They won the World Series, went on a magical run. They added a bunch of guys last season, and it all paid off pretty well. So the lineup looks pretty similar. You know, they didn't sign a few guys. They signed a few guys. So it's pretty similar. They have Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, World Series MVP, Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter, Josh Jung, Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim, Watt Langford, and Leody Taveras. So obviously their lineup is still pretty similar to the one that they won the World Series with. So I'm expecting them to be good again. Maybe not maybe guys won't have as many career seasons as they did last year, but I'm sitting a little bit of reverting back to the mean and back to the average kind of thing. Like if a guy had a really good season, he's probably not going to be, as good as he was, but maybe, you never know. So you have to expect that they're going to still be okay and pretty good. You like the top of their lineup a lot. And then, but the guy that I want to talk about will be Evan Carter, because he's in the 4th spot. They're expecting him to deliver the juice, I guess. And I do like Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Jung. I mean, Jung isn't as good as they were expecting him to be, but he's still pretty good. And Lowe obviously has been really good. Surprised they have him this low in the lineup. I don't know if this is going to be the actual lineup, but I think I would switch it around. But I picked Carter because I am intrigued by him in the 4th spot. So, and on their bench, they have Andrew Kisner, Ezekiel Durant, Josh H. Smith, and Travis Janikowski. I like Janikowski. He's a good steal threat. He's good to sub in the game and steal. He was with the Mets before, so pretty good thing. And yeah, I like their bench. It's decent. And so Evan Carter, he's a rookie. He got a taste of the MLB last season, 32 games. He's a left fielder. He's going to be their left fielder, it looks like. And he did pretty good when he got a taste. He did pretty good. He had in 23 games, 75 plate appearances, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and he went 306, 413, 643, 181 rated runs created plus, 1.3 WAR. So I mean that's pretty decent. And I mean, we'll see how he does over a full season. It looks like the projections are for him to do about 16 to 15 home runs, up to 18, 60 to 70 RBIs, even 80 RBIs. Wow, that's a lot. And then if he could do anything close to this, I think that would be good. Like, especially this one down at the bottom, the Zips. I think that would be an amazing output and production for him. Like, if they get that out of him, he definitely belongs in that 4th spot, like definitely. So yeah, I'm counting on the young guys to kind of step up, and the guys that are there, like Seager, Simeon, all those guys that have been there, they're gonna need to have good seasons again. So if they want to repeat, they're gonna need to do it again. And in the rotation, they have Nathan Eovaldi, Josh Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, Corey Bradford. In the bullpen, they have Jose Leclerc, David Robertson, Josh Shores, Kirby Yates, Brock Burke, Jonathan Hernandez, Jake Latz, and Yuri Rodriguez. Now, the Rangers, I like the rotation. They are a little bit hurt at the moment. They have some really good guys in their injured list, so we'll go into that in a little bit. And then in their bullpen, they had a pretty decent bullpen. They had a lot of good performances, especially in the playoffs from Leclerc. And they added Robertson this offseason, who's always good. Every team he goes on, he's just lights out. And then the rest of it, I mean, if they're going to win the World Series again, they're going to need these guys to really perform outside of what they usually do. So, but the guy I want to talk about is Cody Bradford. He's a starter. He's a rookie. He started at the end of last year, and he did okay. Like, he only had, he had 8 starts, 20 games, so 56 innings. He had 8 Ks per 9, 1.93 walks, 1 home run per 9. And his ERA was a 5. But in AAA, you could see he had pretty decent ERA. AA kind of struggled. But you could see every season, every new league he gets into, he kind of struggles, and then he gets to the next one, and he goes better, and then he struggles, and does better, and then so... If that pattern holds, he's probably gonna do better. And you can see the projections, kind of a rough start, but if he can find it and he's kind of a placeholder though, if you think about it, because on their injured list they have Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer plus Tyler Mahle. So I think that these guys, when these guys come back mid-season and they come back to like basically reinforcements, it's gonna be a different story for the Rangers. Like they're going with these, like some of these, Dane Dunning and Cody Bradford and Heaney. Like DeGrom and Scherzer will replace Dunning and Bradford, I'm sure. So yeah, they're gonna get some reinforcements, so you have to count that into their prediction. Like maybe at the beginning of the season they're gonna struggle a little bit with pitching, and then towards the end they're gonna have Scherzer and DeGrom, two of the best pitchers in the league. So if they're healthy, that's gonna be huge. And then on the players that have Carson Coleman, and he's another relief pitcher. So yeah. And their organizational details, they did lose Jordan Montgomery. They lost a lot of guys, like a lot of guys. Martin Perez, Adolis Chapman, Chris Stratton, Austin Hedges, all these guys, Jake Odorizzi, Brad Miller, Robbie Gross, like all these guys. And you can see that the main thing of their team was offense. Like everyone had a great offensive production. Their pitching was kind of okay. Their bullpen wasn't great, but their starting pitching was okay, and then their offense was just top 5 in almost every category. So, yeah, they need that offense to perform again because it's going to be a similar story this season, I think. And in their prospects, they have a few guys that are going to be ready soon. Carter and Langford and Carter, Jack Leiter, he's going to be in their bullpen. So yeah, it's gonna be good. I think if their offense is similar to 2023, then they're gonna have a great season. And therefore, my prediction for the Rangers is gonna be 91 and 73. The Rangers are, I think that's wrong actually. Is it? It might be 7. Maybe I think it's supposed to be 71. I think I just typed the wrong number. Whoops. I'll fix that. Yeah, 91 and 71. And so yeah, that's the Rangers. They're gonna be in second place, just behind the Astros. I think they could definitely fight for first. It's gonna be close. I think it'll be a close race, but I think overall they have a great team, and they're gonna continue to be good. So on to the next team. The Houston Astros went 90 and 72 last season. They came in second place, despite having the same record as the Rangers. And the Astros lineup looks very similar again to what it did last year. Like no big changes. So they have Jose Altuve, who they just re-signed to a 5-year extension. Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Yainer Diaz, Chas McCormick, Jerry Pena, Jake Myers. So yeah, their lineup is just as good as it always has been. I mean, Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Abreu, Tucker. You can expect these guys to always bring the stuff, be good. And obviously, the big guy in their lineup, Yordan Alvarez, he's going to be the key to their season. And then on the bench, they have Victor Caratini, John Singleton, Gray Kisner, Marcio Dubon. I like their bench. Pretty similar to what it usually is. So yeah, I like it. It's gonna be a fine bench. Like no problems with it. And then I want to talk about Yordan Alvarez because he really is Yordan. Over 30 home runs in nearly every season since 2021. The guy just hits home runs and hits the ball well. 583 slugging, 415 WOBA, 170 weighted runs created plus, 4.5 WAR. I mean, in last season he was even better. So he is great. If he can put up another great season and continue to just smash the ball, basically, and you can see the projections of his home runs, they're going to be in the high 30s, almost low 40s. So yeah, if he can continue to do that and continue to be the hitter that he is, the Astros will be just fine because he's like the heartbeat of their offense. So I really like Yordan. I think, man, he was really a diamond in the rough. They found him, and then they're like I think it was from the Dodgers, and then next thing you know, this guy just hit 27 home runs, and they're like, oh, this guy's great. So they kept starting him, and he's been just banging ever since. Really good. So in their pitching, in their rotation, they have Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Kristen Javier, Hunter Brown, Jose Urquidy. And then in their bullpen, they have Josh Hader, Ryan Presley, Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, Ronald Blanco, Bennett Sosa, Brandon Bedeck, and JP France. And I like the rotation. Obviously, one of the better rotations in the league with Verlander, Valdez, Javier, Brown, Keedy. We're talking about Brown later. And then in their bullpen, they just went for just complete destruction with Josh Hader. They signed Josh Hader. Like, I mean, like I said in my video about Hader, I said, like, this bullpen's deadly. Like, you don't want to face these guys at all. Like, they didn't even need him. They already had the best closer in Presley. Now they have Hader, a better one. So, yeah, it's crazy. Their bullpen's really, really good, especially the back end. Especially the back of the bullpen is really good. I mean, in the front, we'll see how they go. Like, they could be good. They'll probably be okay. I mean, I think the offense is going to carry the team. So we're going to talk about Hunter Brown, starting pitcher. He just came up last season. Well, the season before he had like a taste, and then he came up for real last season. He wasn't the best, but he had okay year for a rookie. Like, he wasn't gonna be, amazing because it's hard. 10 strikeouts, and he's decent. Like, he had a decent. He showed promise, especially in the minors and stuff. But obviously, his sample from 2022 was like, they're like, all right, we'll give you another shot. He had a 0.8 ERA, 0.89 ERA, 1.98 FIP. But, he's going to need to get his walks down. I think it's control, because I think he throws really fast, like over 100 miles per hour. So, like most guys. And looks like he's projected to be like in the 4, maybe high 3s, which is pretty much where they need him to be. They have Verlander, they have Valdez, Javier. So, yeah, that's. And Hunter Brown won't need to be good for that long, because they have Luis Garcia and Lance McCullers Jr. on their IR, which, when those guys come back, they're going to be like reinforcements again. They're going to, kind of help the Astros out mid-season. So if Brown can do good for half a season, and then these guys are going to come and take over. And then they have also Kendall Graveman on the IR too, on the injured. And that's why they got Hader for, because he was hurt. And looking at their organizational details, you can see their offense is obviously really good. Their starting pitching was kind of mid, and their bullpen was really good. So I expect their bullpen to be really good, and their starting pitching to be better, because they're going to have Verlander for the full season. They're going to have all those guys there, and it should be. I think it's going to be a little bit better. But they lost Hector Neris, Phil Maton, Ryan Stanek, and Martin Maldonado. So we'll see. I think they replaced most of these guys, so probably not a big deal. And then in their prospects, they do have, it looks like 1, maybe 2 guys that might be ready soon. So we'll see how it goes. But my prediction for the Astros is, as always, first place, 93 and 69. That one is right. And so, yeah, that's the LOS. I'm going Astros, Rangers, Mariners, Angels, Athletics. And I think that all these predictions they're a little conservative. I think the Angels could be a little bit higher in wins, but I think the order is going to be pretty much bang on. So thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one. I believe it will be one of the Centrals. I think the NL Central or AL Central. So yeah, thanks for watching.